Hey guys, I wanted to show you what our salmon activity is going to look like. So if you go onto Teams, that's fine, we'll start in block 3. Click on in your general area or assignments, Salmon Life Cycle Introduction. I know some of you guys had classes with me in kindergarten, so you have a little bit of background knowledge. Some of you guys at least released the salmon with us, so you have that. All of it's great. We are going to figure out where you're at as far as what you remember, and we'll go from there. So if you need the whole thing over again, that's great. If you have it and you're ready to go on to just the 3rd grade part of it, that is great too. I got to reshare it here. Haha. There we go. So when you open up your Salmon Life Cycle, Introduction to Salmon Life Cycle, it's going to look like this. It is a river. It's just kind of showing you, hey, where the salmon are usually found. What else? On slide 2, there's something that says an incredible journey, and there's a link. So if you hit the control button in the bottom left-hand corner and then click on the link, there is a PDF story you can read. I'm going to read it here to you at the end of this little video, so if you want it read to you, hang back. If not, you know where to find it. That's what our work was for today, which is Monday. If you're curious to know about the salmon life cycle, there's a cute little visual right here where it talks about the salmon life cycle, starting with egg, working its way to alvin, and then fry, smolt, ocean adult, migrating adult, and spawning adult. So as you can see, it makes a circle. After they lay their eggs, these spawning adults pass away and continues the circle of life. Later on this week, we will be talking about some personal questions, which is great that you guys have this background experience. We will be answering questions like, what's the name of this river or stream near your school that has the salmon, which we released a few years back? To which ocean do our salmon migrate? So where are they working towards? What are some routes they might take from the stream or river to the ocean? So we'll do a little bit with maps. List at least 2 predators a salmon might encounter during its migration. So what are 2 things that might be wanting to eat it? In addition to predators, what other natural challenges might a salmon face? So anything that you can think might be difficult. We're going to list at least 1 human-made challenge that a salmon might encounter during its migration. So something that humans did that would make it hard for it to travel. And then we're going to use Google Maps to estimate the number of miles a salmon might travel from the river to the ocean. So we'll be doing that part kind of together, but just so you know what these slides are about. In this one, we're going to be dealing with life cycle stages, and we're going to talk about if we were a salmon, what are some things that we might see, smell, hear, any predators or prey or potential obstacles that we might have to encounter as an egg or an alvin or a fry, smolt, ocean adult, migrating adult, or spawning adult. And we'll add some pictures later. So that's just what to look forward to this week. I'm not exactly sure how long it's going to take us, so that's why I wanted to give you a heads up of what to expect this week. So for those of you who just need the story, I'm going to click Control and then click on the link that's on slide number 2. It's going to open this bad boy right up into a PDF version of the incredible journey. If you look, there are 52 slides, but you can scroll right ahead past. This is a cool little life cycle chart, but the actual story doesn't start till about page 11. So don't feel like you have to read any of that background information. That is a ton, but if you're curious, it's a great place to start. So this shows the calendar. June 8th is a fishing trip. Yay! So here's a house, and we have some wild creatures next to a river. Some people are driving, and it says from rainforest to deserts and mountain to coral reef, Earth is home to many different ecosystems, which I think you guys know about already. We talked about different biomes a few months back. Some animals and plants known as keystone species play very big roles in their ecosystems. Keystone species help keep an ecosystem in balance. A change in the population of a keystone species can cause big changes throughout an ecosystem, often in surprising ways. So I had a few students tell me today, like, hey, just like the bees. Well, what do bees do? They pollinate, so they help plants stay alive by producing fruit or producing more vegetables, other things that plant eaters or even humans consume. And if bees didn't survive anymore, or even honey, if bees weren't surviving, then plants wouldn't survive. And if plants don't survive, anything that eats plants wouldn't survive. And then anything that eats plant eaters wouldn't survive. And so bees are considered a keystone species because they help keep a lot of different creatures alive. Salmon are the same, not in that exact way, but they keep many different species alive and keep our ecosystem balanced. So here's some salmon at different stages. We have them spawning and we have them as fry. It says salmon swim thousands of miles. Do you hear that? Thousands of miles. I know we couldn't swim thousands of miles from their home stream to the ocean and then back again, which is a crazy trip. This unique life cycle makes salmon an important keystone species in many different ecosystems. So rather than just living in only the ocean habitat or only river or lake or certain foresty areas, they encounter a lot of different ecosystems, so they affect a lot of different ecosystems and the creatures that live there. So more than 130 different species, from insects to killer whales, depend on salmon for part of their diet. So if you see here, this lady's selling salmon, so humans are eating it. We have a sea otter or river otter. We have a bear who's trying to get some, and then I think there's a wolf right over here, and some kind of pelican or river bird, other types of birds and humans. People around the world also depend on salmon for food, jobs, and culture. We talked about our Native American. Oh no, I'm so sorry I didn't share the. I'm gonna go back. I'm so sorry. I am on slide 20. I did not realize I wasn't sharing that through up there. I'm so sorry. We talked about the Native Americans. There was different tribes, and near the Pacific Northwest, so on the western side of Washington, salmon are a huge part of their culture. That's like one of the main staples for their survival. For thousands of years, communities have celebrated the return of salmon through dances, festivals, and art. So because they're so important to so many different cultures, they celebrate it in a lot of different ways. At one time, millions of salmon returned to their home rivers. So if you see this river full of different salmon and people fishing and using the rivers, and then if you notice this dam blocking the way so that they can divert the water or lessen the flow, it does stop a lot of salmon from being able to migrate. Some make it around, but not all of them. Even though salmon are resilient, which means they can survive pretty well, challenges like climate change, habitat loss, and overfishing are pushing them to the brink of extinction. So no, they are not extinct yet, but they are endangered because of different types of pollution and being overfished. So those are different names for salmon because people from around the world use them or eat them in some way. If salmon disappear, what does that mean for the communities and ecosystems that depend on them? We talked about that with bees a little. So these are things that salmon need to help them survive. People are working together to make sure salmon have what they need to survive or to thrive. They need shade to keep water cool. So salmon need nice cool water to be able to be happy and survive. They need a lot of different insects or different types of bugs to eat. They need logs, like fallen logs in rivers, so that they don't get swept away in strong currents. So you don't want it to completely block their way, but you do want them to have little hiding places. We do want rivers without barriers so salmon can migrate. So they want the logs, but not completely blocked. They want enough water to swim and build nests. So you don't want it to be too shallow for them. They want to be able to move around. To save this keystone species, communities are working together to slow climate change, stop pollution, and help salmon overcome barriers. Even families, schools, and individuals are making a real difference by planting trees, conserving water, and driving less. So lowering pollution to help animals survive. And then there's like a bear and a river bird. They're smelling some kind of yummy salmon cooking over here. That guy looks pretty surprised. The choices we make today affect salmon and all the species that depend on them. When we work together to protect salmon, we also protect ecosystems, food, and our culture. So we want to make sure that they're there to keep things alive, different creatures alive, and our culture. So if you choose to keep reading down here, there's a lot more pages about students as stewards, which just means that they're helping to care for nature and the salmon in this case. You guys are those as well. From those of you who helped me release salmon back in kindergarten, you guys are helpers to our environment, which is great. And then there's different vocabulary in here. If you guys are interested in reading about that, that is on page or slide 46 and 47. And then, yeah, so those are all those words for salmon in different languages again. So that is all I really had for you today. I just wanted you to take a look at our reading, see what you do know about salmon. I had kids in different blocks brainstorm, what do you already know? Is there anything that you do want to know about salmon? Or, yeah, so that will kind of drive our learning for the next few days. And yeah, if you guys end up having any questions, let me know. This one should have been easy peasy. You just go ahead and listen and see what you know. All right. Well, I will see you soon. And again, message me if you have any questions at all. All right. Thanks. Bye.